Hi, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding our passage through this challenging and yet very hopeful time. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of October 14th, 2012, and One Road in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. We're also going to discuss the Libra new moon, Mercury entering into its retrograde shadow, and the Sun entering into Scorpio. October 14th is one ebb or road, and it carries the themes of destiny, guidance, travel, vessel of time, dew from heaven, abundance, organization, caretaking, empathy, growth, service to others, the ladder that connects heaven and earth, the life force that is also known as prana in the Vedic tradition, or chi in the Chinese culture, harvest, and humility. Ian Lungold described road as sometimes referred to as the sign of grass, which is the most vulnerable of all life forms, but also the most humble. So the road of life leads to our true destiny on the spiritual path we all must travel. This 13-day period would be a great time to humbly offer to serve others. Astrologically, the One Road Tzolkin begins with Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune retrograde as Mercury begins to slow down as it approaches the point where it will turn retrograde next month. And I showed the mechanics of retrograde planets in the One Sun Care and Feeding from August 23rd, 2012. This diagram here illustrates the three phases of a retrograde cycle as seen from the Earth. And we are approaching the Mercury retrograde cycle, which is going to begin on November 6th. And when looking at the retrograde cycle of any of the personal or inner planets, it provides information about a correction to our present course. And during this report period, we have Mercury beginning to travel through this first stage of the retrograde process on October 18th. And there are really two important points to be aware of in looking at the cycle. We need to look at the point where the planet appears to move backwards from our vantage point here on Earth, and also the point where it appears to move forward again. The first stage represents the shadow time between passing 18 degrees of Scorpio, the point where the planet will eventually begin moving forward again, and the point where it slows down and stops and begins to move in reverse at 4 degrees of Sagittarius. During the first stage, we receive information about needing to adjust our direction. The second stage is the actual retrograde phase, and this is a time when we should watch for events that occur related to the information that we received during the first stage. And then the third stage begins when the planet is moving forward again until it crosses the line where it originally turned retrograde. And the third stage, we move forward with a revision to our present course. So we're going to enter the first stage for Mercury on October 18th. So from then until November 6th, we're going to be receiving information about an adjustment that needs to be made in our lives. And then Mercury is actually retrograde from November 6th for Sagittarius until November 26th, when it moves back to 18 Scorpio, which will be the time where we're really going to be noticing events that shift our thinking. And then from November 26th until December 14th, we are in the third stage where we implement the change in direction that we've gained from the awareness of having this experience. And for Mercury retrogrades, I make a small graphic of the same type here, and it's got the actual days marked out on it. And I do that so that I can write down any significant events that happen on each day, and it really helps me identify the course change needed. And over the years, I've actually noticed that events that signal the change in my direction. I've also noticed from keeping these these reports over years that there's also certain patterns that seem to reoccur during these Mercury retrograde cycles. Sometimes people will contact me every retrograde cycle. And then sometimes after a while they don't. And so anyway, moving on, we're going to look at the details of the daily energy of this Trecena. And October 14th is One Road, and this is about unity being experienced through being a service to others. And on that day, we've got Mars being challenged by Chiron, and Chiron and vice versa, which brings a few days where healing comes from our willingness to feel the discomfort of our wounds before we're able to release them, so that we're really conscious of them and then we can let them go. With the Libra moon being stimulated by Mars and opposed by Uranus, challenged by Pluto, and supported by Jupiter, the day begins with the energy to tackle a project that requires physical strength, but it also has unpredictable moods and the desire to take control and push others' limits. And then it finishes up with gain perspective and amiable feelings towards those in our immediate environment. And then the next day, the 15th, is 2 Read in the Tzolkin, which is about duality being experienced through appreciating home and the family. And on that day, we have the Libra new moon, which is merging with the Sun and Saturn and supported by Neptune. And with Mars being supported by Uranus, all these placements bring a new beginning that's sort of a foreshadowing of a certain seriousness, particularly related to relationships. And new moons bring the opportunity to set an intention for manifestation on the following full moon. And to do that, you really should look at the house of your astrological chart and see which house contains 22 Libra, to consider what area of your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, it's the 5th house, which the 5th house is about creativity and children. So I would set an intention related to something I want to create by the full moon. And then with Mars in a comfortable aspect to Uranus, we're supported with new energy and new ideas for moving forward with our intentions. This new moon has great energies for a fresh start, particularly relating to relationships. And then October 16th, we have 3 Jaguar, which is about taking action through enjoying nature, as Mercury harmonizes with Venus, brings a focus on the aesthetics of our communications, and people will be more able to articulate, be more articulate than usual. With Venus being challenged by Jupiter, we'll have people wanting to engage in activities that are pleasurable at the expense of, following routines or being with people that really kind of limit us. And then with the Scorpio moon harmonizing with Pluto and Venus and merging with Mercury, the day's emotional energy begins with deep feelings and then wraps up with wanting to be with those we love, and our rational minds being influenced by our moods, for better or worse. And then the 17th, this is for Eagle. This is about stability through seeing from a higher perspective. And the Sagittarius moon is challenged by Neptune, which brings dreamy energy where fantasy seems more important than reality. October 18th is 5 Wisdom in the Tzolkin, and it's about being empowered through being introspective, meditative, and also by forgiving people. As Mercury reaches that point of 18 degrees Scorpio, once it reaches that point, we're moving into that shadow of the retrograde cycle that we talked about earlier. So on this day, it signals the beginning of a time of new information regarding a course change that's coming into our lives. With the moon in Sagittarius finding support from Uranus, merging with Mars, and opposed by Jupiter, the day's emotional energy begins with craving excitement, and then later it's kind of more irritable feelings, and then finally it shifts to having kind of a generous and benevolent mood. So it's kind of all over the place. The 19th is 6 Earth, which is about being in the flow through gratitude for Mother Earth. With the moon being challenged by Venus and harmonizing with the Sun and Neptune, it brings an emotional wave that begins with a pleasant moon and then is followed by the feelings of balance between our inner and outer worlds, and wraps up with the sensitivity to emotions of others, and for those who are sensitive in nature, possible psychic experiences. October 20th is 7 Flint. It's about reflection through being introspective and reflective as the Capricorn moon harmonizes with Saturn, and is challenged by Uranus and merges with Pluto. The day's emotional energies begins with wanting to be alone in our thoughts and feelings, and then later needing to be careful not to jump to conclusions as we have emotions rising to the surface from the deepest parts of our psyche. The 21st is 8 Storm, which is about balance being experienced through seeing the gifts of adversity, with the first quarter moon supported by Venus, stimulated by Mercury, and challenged by the Sun. Early, we have pleasant feelings for people in our immediate environment, and then increased social interactions, and then it wraps up with a challenge to our just trying to follow our daily routines. And then October 22nd, this is 9 Sun. This is about patience experienced through honoring the wisdom and the memory of our ancestors, with the Sun entering into Scorpio. I love that. We got the Sun and the Sun. It begins a month of increased focus on the mystical, the passions, depth, the unseen, the emotions, and the intensity that appears below the calm surface. While the Aquarius moon is being challenged by Saturn and stimulated by Uranus and Mars, the day begins with feeling lonely and out of touch with others, but later brings pleasant yet restless feelings, and finally the desire for independence. The 23rd, this is 10 Crocodile. This is about manifestation through nurturing new beginnings, as the Sun is supported by Neptune, which illuminates the spiritual level of reality, with the Moon in Aquarius finding support from Jupiter and challenged by Mercury. It brings a sense of well-being, and then wraps up with critical communications. October 24th is 11 Wind. This is about resolution through communications, with the Pisces moon merging with Neptune, being supported by the Sun and Saturn, and harmonizing with Pluto, which starts with empathy for those in our immediate surroundings, but later we have feelings of harmony and a realistic view of life. And then finally, it really just arouses some real deep emotion. The 25th is 12 Night. This is understanding through contemplating the stars, as the Sun merges with Saturn at 2 degrees of Scorpio, in illuminating our boundaries and the discipline in our lives, with Mercury harmonizing with Venus for the second time in this Trecena. It's basically, it zipped right by Venus, now it's slowing down, and Venus is catching it and moving past it. And so this brings kind of a greater ability for articulation and a focus of on the beauty of our communications. With the Moon in Pisces, it's challenged by Mars and Jupiter, which brings irritability and the danger of entering into needless disputes early in the day, but later it shifts to more benevolent and generous feelings for those in our immediate environment. And then on October 26th, we have 13 Seeds. So this is about movement to the next stage by making new connections and planting seeds. As the Moon finds support from Mercury and is opposed by Venus, it brings ease in expressing our emotions while being careful not to overindulge. So no matter what energies are affecting you during this One Road Tzolkin, take some time out to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or really being conscious in being with someone you love. Every single day we have is a blessing. No matter what dramas beckon to distract us, we're all here on this world stage giving the performance of the lifetime. So take some time out to observe the play as well as acting your part, so you can remember that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Anyway, as always, I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of Care and Feeding of a New World Age will be on October 27th. for One Serpent. We're also going to discuss Venus moving into Libra, Mercury moving into Sagittarius, the Taurus full moon, and Mercury will actually be turning retrograde in that report. You can check us out on Facebook, where I post all the text for these videos, or YouTube, which has not only this video, but all the videos since the very beginning of New World Birth, or the Mayan Magics website, where they have a New World Birth page, and there you can is posted all the testimonials of people who have received readings from me. As always, I invite you to email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. I am providing with readings and wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks, so I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. These readings are designed to provide the information to help you navigate these difficult times. At the very basic level, we're going to look at your human design chart to help you understand how to use your individual strategy and authority in making life decisions based on your unique design. I include 3 months of astrological transits as they relate to your natal and progress charts, along with the human design reading at the middle level, and then at the top level, the human design and astrological transit reading is recorded and sent to you as an MP3 file, which you can then download to your computer and watch, listen to over and over again as you're looking through the charts that I send you. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA or connect over Skype to receive your reading. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time out to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application in our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste and Lakesh. I'll catch you next time.